Eze and Rodrygo rumours are still rife. Apparently, Arsenal have reached an agreement with Gyokeres and we're linked with a Monaco player. We're buying the whole world. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan where you can have your opinions. Do you want Gyokeres? Do you want Sesko? Do you have hope for both? The pros and cons. But 1 minute, we're going for Sesko, then we're going for Gyokeres. I mean, to be fair, the journalists are playing a blinder. But in terms of keeping you lot entertained, smash the like button. Let's get straight into business, people. Apparently, Arsenal close to verbal agreement with Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal are close to reaching a verbal agreement with Sporting Lisbon sensation Viktor Gyokeres. According to the Keep, the Gunners are in the market for a centre forward after their Premier League title charge derailed last season, partly due to a lack of lethal firepower up front as Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus suffered season-ending injuries. The outlet understands that Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta has set his sights on signing Gyokeres, who is of interest to several Premier League clubs. Now, that's an interesting word, several. I mean, everyone can do with strikers. You can make a case of various degrees, various targets, various profiles, but just broadly, regardless of Chelsea signing Liam Delap, that's one. Obviously, Arsenal fans, we all agree we need a striker. And if you don't, I don't know where you've been for the last, since Aubameyang left. Man United need a forward. Not quite the same, but you can make a case for Spurs. Obviously, Newcastle have Alexander Isak, but they could probably do with like a backup or another kind of option and several. So it's a bit of a weird one hearing that several word. I would say Arsenal, Man United, and Juventus are the teams that you're hearing in the last week or so are the ones centered around Gyokeres. And we've heard a lot about Gyokeres. The president has spoken, his agent spoken. Gyokeres has done things on Instagram. There's every rumor, in the Sun, even down to the point where he's apparently leaving his missus, people. So we'll have to see. Apparently, it appears the Gunners are leading the race to sign the Swedish centre forward, as the latter is keen to join Mikel Arteta's squad. Gyokeres' agent Hassan Sentikaya is reportedly close to a verbal agreement with the Premier League runners-up. Gyokeres has logged 54 goals in all comps last season, and Sporting have every intention of letting him leave on their terms. Berta is reportedly aiming to strike an agreement just south of 70 million to bring Gyokeres to North London. Now, apparently, 60, 70 million is the ballpark, euros is the ballpark figure. We're hearing everything. 1 minute Sporting want his release clause, then there's a gentleman's agreement, then they're not. It's a techie situation, people. Apparently, Sancho Trevanelli is saying we are advancing with Sporting regarding Gyokeres, and the club feel they're within touching distance of the finish line. Gyokeres has already agreed a 5-year contract, people. He has a 60 million clause, people, which is now active as of Tuesday, which was yesterday. If Arsenal, or in brackets any other club, make a bid of this value and Sporting refuse, they'll have to compensate the agent with 10% of the value. The Lions have warned that if this happens, they'll demand 100 million euros. Now, is that in cold-hearted writing? Because the gentleman's agreement about, he could leave for below his release clause, this thing that you see on screen now, forgive me, maybe I'm a bit naive, but if it's not legally blinding in a contract, then it's all nonsense, essentially. I could be wrong. Now, obviously, if they've directly agreed that and it's not in writing, then obviously that has ramifications for, if you're the agent, you want to get a higher agent fee off Arsenal. You want to probably, get a higher agent fee off your client, Gyokeres. You probably want Sporting to get more money, so you get your 10%. So we'll have to see how this develops, people. But it's sounding a bit mad. Again, according to the Keep, we're on the verge of a verbal agreement with Gyokeres. Apparently, talks with RB Leipzig youngster Benjamin Sesko have hit an impasse. And it appears Ollie Watkins, completely off topic, could be going to Manchester United. So yeah, apparently he's made no secret of the fact he's prioritizing a move to Arsenal. Personal terms are not providing a major issue. I think it's Sporting just dragging their heels. And I personally think Gyokeres' agent and Sporting are the ones why Gyokeres hasn't got his move to anywhere, people. Apparently, Sesko's can't believe his future would be sorted by now, with several clubs interested in signing the forward. The report asserts it's understood that while a move away from the German club is not off, talks have not progressed so far during the window. The player remains relaxed about his future and won't force a move out of RB Leipzig, people. Court offside are claiming that Arsenal are actually making headwinds in relation to Sesko, people. Apparently, Leipzig have been holding out for 80 million euros. We currently value him at around 70 million. And apparently, both clubs are close to reaching a compromise of 75 million euros. What's that? About 60 odd million pounds. He got 21 goals and 6 assists in 45 comps. Arsenal reportedly close to agreeing a fee with Leipzig. They're yet to finalize terms with Sesko himself. Rumors suggest that his current wage demands are too lofty for the Gunners, while he's asking for a release clause to be included in his contract. That seems like nonsense to me with the release clause. Yesterday, we heard that Arsenal could force Sporting into selling him, provided they, bid 60 million plus 10 million euros, going back to the previous point we've gone over. Now, I previously said Monaco have a couple of wild cards. There's no way I can pronounce his name. Maghnes Akliouche, I can't pronounce him, but we've all seen him. He played against Arsenal. He can play in a bunch of roles. He can play off the flanks, play off the 10, actually probably play in the 8. Very creative footballer. Definitely during the Emirates era, exactly everything we want. Apparently, Arsenal are interested in Monaco's versatile attacker, Maghnes Akliouche, 23, according to a report from L'Equipe. Apparently, we've made no mystery of the fact that the 21-year-old is on his way, that we like him, and he apparently could be on his way out. He is valued at 70 million euros. So that is quite the price tag, people, especially when you're linked with Eze. Manchester City, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest, Spurs have all been apparently made their interest known, and apparently Arsenal also interested. Apparently, the outlet adds the Gunners are close to reaching a verbal agreement with Gyokeres' agent, Hassan Sentikayo, who also represents the man in question. Maybe that's where the rumours are coming from. The North London side are in the market for a wide player to bring competition to Bukayo Saka and Martinelli. He's reportedly high up Arsenal's wish list. L'Equipe understands that Atalanta's Ademola Lookman could be a cheaper option, and he's valued at 50 million euros. But I can't see us signing two 27-year-olds, like whether that's Isaac and Gyokeres, Gyokeres and Eze and Lookman. You get where I'm going. So yeah, it seems like there's quite a lot of nonsense going on. One player that is an Arsenal player, Kepa, has formally signed for Arsenal, people. In that regards, apparently we've signed more goalkeepers than attackers. It's not even apparently, that's probably a fact. Rodrygo is struggling for game time at Real Madrid. He was left out of the starting 11 again for Real Madrid against Juventus as they won 1-0. Kenan Yildiz, who's always linked with us, played a blinder in my opinion. He's been on the subs bench for the 3rd time in a row, and that's obviously going to add fuel to the fire of potentially joining Arsenal or someone else. Apparently we've held talks with Rodrygo's entourage several weeks ago. Our chances of signing him will be complicated by wage demands, in which whether he's worth it or not, Real Madrid are going to want a big fee. You're going to have to put him on big wages. This comes with the territory. Apparently, he wants 12 million euros net salary at the Emirates, which will make him the highest paid player in the squad. Obviously, with Saliba, Saka, say what you want, but Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz are on big money. There's a lot of chopping and changing. But with Partey gone, with Tierney gone, that's like 300,000+ off the wage bill. Nelson's on something good like that. Zinchenko probably going to leave. It allows you more resources to play around with. Whether or not Arsenal can afford or are willing to pay such a big salary for the player will also cost them a transfer fee of 75 million. I would love Eze and Rodrygo. I like the fact that David Ornstein said we're looking at 3 attackers, and in a way that Eze is irrelevant from our pursuit of a left winger and a striker. So that could happen. For me personally, go all out for Rodrygo. But whether it's Sesko and Gyokeres, get that through the door, get Eze through the door, and whether it's the Monaco lad or someone else, I think you have to pivot in it, because you don't want to chase this guy all summer and he wants to stay at Real Madrid. We need Real Madrid to make it abundantly clear he wants to leave, or Rodrygo to make it abundantly clear he wants to leave. I personally feel even if Xabi Alonso said, listen, I value you, you will get game time. You're not going to get the game time and the minutes and the stature of importance in the squad as much as you might want. I actually think Rodrygo might say, do you know what? I'm going to prove Xabi Alonso wrong. It's a long season. We're competing in multiple trophies. We're currently in a Club World Cup. He's going to need players. When I get my opportunity, I'm going to take it, people. So we'll have to see, man. But that's one that's probably going to rumble on all summer. Graham Bailey has said, from what I'm hearing from people close to the situation, once Real Madrid get back from the Club World Cup, Rodrygo is going to make it clear that he wants to leave. Which maybe this is not the time, whether he wants to leave or wants to stay. Maybe just focused on participating in the competition. I think Rodrygo is quickly emerging as Arsenal's dream target. I think everything points towards Rodrygo leaving, and my belief is that Arsenal will be placed towards the top of his desired places to go. We won't be alone in the pursuit of him. Arsenal know what kind of fee it will take to sign Rodrygo, around 75 million. They know about his wages, and that hasn't scared them off one bit. No way of verifying and fact-checking this, but that's great. Going back to what I said about Kepa, we have now signed a player from Chelsea in 6 of our last 7 seasons. It's a madness, really and truly. David Ornstein did say yesterday, we're looking to do a deal for Eze at a lower price than his release clause. It is unclear whether a sale would need to happen first to facilitate a move, but this would be separate to their pursuit of a striker and a left winger, people. Big up the Beautiful Game podcast, people. Do great work. Once upon a time, interviewed Per Mertesacker. Apparently, Arteta has spoken to Rice about Eze. You'd imagine that all managers do that because, they rub shoulders at international level, and probably asking Saka and everybody else. Probably even got Ramsdale's number. And the Arsenal midfielder gave a glowing endorsement of his international teammate. While Spurs maintain their interest, Eze is understood to prefer a move to Arsenal, the club he supported growing up. Apparently, Arsenal value him below his 68 million release clause. There's been no bid to date, but Arsenal's interest is serious and advancing. Eze is understood to be keen on the move to Arsenal. And we've also been linked with Rodrygo Anthony Gordon and Nico Williams, and we're not going to get Williams. Morgan Rogers, Noni Madueke, and Eze are the names continuously being floated around. The Beautiful Game podcast also said, as of now, no direct contact between Arsenal and Palace for Eze. Player has a 68 million release clause, but it's felt a deal could be done for around 60. So if we can structure those payments in a way that makes sense, Eze could be a Gooner. Apparently, our interest in him stems from his ability to play as both an attacking midfielder and out wide, but is not in place of other left wing targets. And if minimum and you're going for a left winger anyways, and Eze and a striker, and God forbid you get, well, not even God forbid, but you get your striker, you get Eze, and the Rodrygo pursuit and all of this doesn't happen, at least you've got another option. I mean, Eze can play all across the front four. You've got him on the right-hand side, at least in the short term, even though I think he ends up in midfield. But Wanyeri, Saka, and obviously Eze and a bunch of others, but them lot playing off the right. He can obviously play as a false 9. Odegaard's got competition in that 10, could play in the 8. I do think the left wing and the 8 and the 10, so the left wing and the 10 is probably where, at least right now, I think Eze is kind of going to slot in, but it makes sense. He's English. He's Premier League proven. He's got that fire in his belly at 27 to want to make the step up. It all just makes too much sense to me. The talks with Eze are concrete. Eze is excited by the Arsenal project. Arsenal started talking about the conditions of a deal with Palace and the player side. So bids and all of that were a long way away, but it seems like we're doing what needs to be done in that regards, people. But yeah, I'd say the key things from the Athletic is we'd like to do a deal below that price. It's unclear whether there would need to be a sell. Obviously, there's fuel to the fire in that. Do you sell Martinelli? Simultaneously, you hear rumours that Arsenal want to give Martinelli a new deal. So does that mean we went into this summer trying to get Eze, trying to get a Sesko or Gyokeres, trying to get a left winger, whether that's an A-lister like Rodrygo or someone else, and still give Martinelli a new deal? We'll have to see. Every player's got a price. Rodrygo has only played 23 minutes in his last 3 games, by the way, for Real Madrid. Sources close to Rodrygo are upset with his lack of involvement at the Club World Cup, which has continued. The arrival of Mostantano could lead to Rodrygo's role being reduced in the coming months. It's worth keeping an eye on the situation. Real Madrid have been clear with any player who wants to leave, bring an offer to the table. If it suits the club's demands, they can leave. Sky Germany are still reporting that we're interested in Noni Madueke. He's one of several players that we're apparently looking at, and apparently we've discussed him internally. There's been no proposal or talks by the club yet, but it is an open situation. Hand of Arsenal said the club have been speaking to his reps over the past few weeks. The club hold genuine interest in Noni, but are not advanced on personal terms. No proposal made to the player as of today either. Chelsea club officials have denied any bid being made. The player has expressed interest in our project, but has reservations about competing with Saka. Furthermore, the player is not keen on playing left wing either. In truth, the interest is genuine, but as of today, it is as you were, people. Arsenal are not, according to CBS, Arsenal are not looking to sell Martinelli. Every player in the squad has their price, but there's no internal pressure to sell Martinelli to fund business. So in theory, could you get Rodrygo, Eze, your striker, the 50 odd on Zubimendi, the 5 million for Kepa, add that in with the 9.5 million that we spent on Nordgaard, collective fee, and assuming that there's other business that we need to do in Arteta's mind and Arsenal's mind. Martinelli somewhat irrelevant from that. Has been linked with Bayern Munich, has been linked with a move to Saudi. It seems that Martinelli isn't keen on Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't seem that he's Bayern Munich or the Saudi club's first interest. Luis Diaz seems to be held in higher regards. Bayern have made a first offer to Diaz's camp, who was linked with Barcelona, who is linked with Saudi, who is linked with signing a new deal at Liverpool. It seems like it's all up in the open. Malik Fofana has been linked with Chelsea, Napoli, and apparently Nottingham Forest have agreed a fee, and he's also being linked with Bayern Munich. I only mention that because he can play off the left-hand side. Obviously, that has ramifications of Martinelli. Christian Nordgaard is expected to undergo a medical at Arsenal this week and finalise a move. Once again, Martinelli is drawing interest from Saudi clubs, people. So it'd be interesting to see how the window pans out.